Hello and welcome to my page, Maya Dreamwalker. In my last video, one of my last videos, the subject was everything is about DNA. And today we're going to expound on that a little bit more by talking about something more specific and breaking it down a little bit, and that is PMFs or PEMFs, as they're sometimes called, versus EMFs, and how that affects our DNA. And this is frequency, sound that you're not really hearing with the human ears necessarily. Some of it you can when you listen to solfeggio tones, things like that. But we don't hear the frequency that comes from cell towers and phones, right? We don't hear that. So starting out with a favorite quote of mine from Nikola Tesla, which is, if you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that is so true. And the purpose of these videos about DNA, and my last video of DNA, was to really break down and understand how everything is about our DNA, the control structures that we talk about, the different ways that epigenetics is used in the world to control our expression and to empower you to be able to take back control of what's happening in your body with your DNA. Because those and you've heard me talk about, I like to say the pyramid, right? The top of the pyramid, they understand the genetics and the DNA and how we control things and how to pull certain expressions out, how to manipulate and control for all kinds of purposes. And so once you really understand that and you take control of your DNA, now you've really started to take back your sovereignty, right? You've started to step away from that and learn how to be of the world, but not in it, okay? So, going through just my research and putting things together for this video, I found a web page from a veterinarian clinic in Ontario, and one of the things I found fascinating is that he's been using pulsating magnetic field therapy to treat animals for several years. And it helps with, injuries and disc injuries and healing, and just sending that frequency, the right frequencies, into the DNA, okay? So if you see here, I have PEMFs, right? Which equals happy cells, okay? The Schumann resonance of the planet, that would be considered a pulsating magnetic field, okay? And the Schumann resonance frequency allows for our DNA to assemble properly. So you have to wonder why, and that is known in the upper echelons of science, why we have so many disruptors, the cell towers, the cell phones, right? Why we have all these disruptors and what they are actually doing to our DNA and how they interfere with that natural Schumann resonance, and how there's this battle going on to really control the DNA. So one of the things I found very interesting in doing my research was that when I looked at the different frequencies and the different experiments that have been performed by different scientists in different fields, is that there's been so much profound research done to really prove and show you just how significant these things are to the DNA but it never makes it out to mainstream. And it's so simple once you actually go, oh, okay, so I do have control of my DNA, and I can change and control what is being sent, right? To control my DNA from outside sources, out of my field, so to speak, and take back control of my DNA and how it expresses and the health of it. So Dr. C. Hirschler, MD, a Canadian physician, conducted a similar study looking at the effect that PMFTs had on soft tissue injuries. And he found that 80% of the time, the subjects exposed to PMFT obtained relief of pain and improved function. When exposed to a pulsed magnetic field, it is important to know that every cell in the body is affected. Each of our cells is like a tiny battery that generates an electric field with a resulting cell membrane potential of 80 millivolts. Right here, okay? So, moving on from that, we look at Dr. Masaru Emoto's work, and many of you may have heard of him. If not, Dr. Emoto, Japanese researcher, go ahead and go online and take a look at all the amazing work he has done with how sound, frequency, vibration, right, affects water. And you see all these different patterns form and on the different hertz, right, associated with like your emotions and fear and different thought forms and emotions. And you can see the sacred geometry that happens. It's just absolutely beautiful to watch. Now, think that we are made up of mostly water, right? And then you start to tie in how much of an effect that has as well, right? And he found that water cells respond differently to different words and different thoughts, right? So water cells have a resonant frequency of 432 hertz, at which they form perfectly symmetrical patterns. And 432 hertz is like the harmonic intonation of nature. So right here you see happy cells, right? 432 hertz. You can find all kinds of music to listen to, you know, for meditation, just in your office while you're working, while you're relaxing, putting in your ears, even while you take a nap. 432 hertz. And in the background right now, if you can hear the little bit of music I have playing, that is 528 hertz, right? And 528 hertz is associated with DNA repair. Okay, so that's a big one, DNA repair. We definitely want to repair the DNA, okay? And it was in, like 1939, 1938, 1939, so like 80 years ago, right as we were going into World War II, the scale for music was changed, and some of you may know this. If not, go look at it and read the articles you can find. It's very interesting. The A432 hertz, right, basic tuning, was changed to 440 hertz, which is considered a disharmonic, right? It disrupts, it's disharmonic. So again, another understanding of how these things affect us at a cellular, a DNA level, and it's going on around us all the time, and we just haven't known. So moving on to this side of the board, to the EMFs, right? And what is affecting us that we can't see, right, or hear, but is all around us in the world. In a 2011 study from the Journal of Radiation Biology, okay, so DNA, this is in their journal, DNA is a fractal antenna in electromagnetic fields, okay? DNA is a fractal antenna. Think about that. And if you think about this double helix, which is the basic, you know, how we see and how we perceive DNA when we think about it, right? We all have seen that double helix, okay? So think about that like antennas, right? Researchers concluded that the wide frequency range of interaction with EMF is the functional characteristic of a fractal antenna, and DNA appears to possess the two structural characteristics of fractal antennas, which is electronic conduction and self-symmetry. These properties contribute to greater reactivity of DNA with EMF in the environment, and the DNA damage could account for increases in cancer epidemiology. Ionizing radiation also causes DNA damage. And in a cell tower radiation report that was prepared by Professor Girish Kumar, Electrical Engineering Department, IIT Bombay, says cellular telephone frequencies can lead to damaged DNA. Studies show that microwave exposure at levels below the current FCC exposure standard produces single and double strand breaks in the DNA. So we have the Schumann resonance, right, frequency over here on our happy cell side that is that allows for DNA to assemble properly, okay? So over here on the disharmonic side, right? See my little, you know, cells are not happy face. The cell towers and the phones and the EMFs that we are emitting through these things, they actually produce single and double strand breaks in the DNA. So this is why it is so important that we really start to work with our DNA and do things to protect our DNA, talk to your DNA, because this body vehicle is controlled by your consciousness, and what's being pulled from your DNA and extracted at a subconscious level, right, creates more of that harm that we don't want. A good example, Dr. Royal Rife. Some of you may have heard of Rife technology, and if not, another one. Go take a good read, because, and I'll list some of these in my description box for the videos so you can be like, who was the doctor she was talking about? And you can go look these things up, all right? So Dr. Royal Rife was an American inventor, and he was born in 1888 and he passed over in 1971. So 1888, that means through, right, into the 20th century, this man was alive and working on this technology. And of course, you know, the big PHARMA came along and totally suppressed it. Now, why do you think that is? Aren't you tired of being everyone's profit horse and keeping you sick and suppressed? So here we go. Dr. Rife found that pathogens, bacteria, and viruses each had, including cancer, each had a resonant frequency and was able to target and destroy these cells by means of an electronic resonator. Think about that. Again, back to frequency. It is all about the DNA and what they are sending out and what we can do to counteract it. So when you meditate and you talk to your DNA, use 528 hertz, use 432 hertz. Bring yourself into balance at that level. I like to take a glass of water, right? And I will put 432 hertz on, I have an app that is just solfeggio tones. You know, you can get the music done with music. These are just the tones. And I'll set it right next to the water and I'll just play it into the water for several minutes before I drink the water. And there's lots of people, wonderful awakened brothers and sisters we have out there that build and make things that help with this. If you go to storeteamlight.com, you can find things to put on your cell phone. You can find EMF plates and different things to help block and guard the frequencies. He even makes devices. His name is Rion DeRowan, and I'll put that in the description box, Store Team Light. And I have one, and it's like this, it's made with crystals, and it's got a ground on it, and you plug it into the ground of your house to send it through the wiring to create a Faraday cage around your house. If you don't know what a Faraday cage is, look that up. You can order on Amazon Faraday fabric, and you can even like make a pouch to put your cell phone in if you want to, in your pocket, or you can cover your router in it, right? On Store Team Light, you can find plates and different things that are made to set your router on that reduce a lot of that EMF. On the outside of your house, you can go to Amazon and you can find, for those smart meters, they make little, these little cages that you put on that fit on really easily, and they help to reduce the EMFs. Store Team Light has different things you can put on the wall on the inside of your house where those EMFs are coming in to help and block that. One of my favorites, because shungite, and black tourmaline, excellent for blocking the effects of EMFs, is this shungite bomb. And I'm almost out of it, but you can see inside here, it has food grade shungite powder in it. It's all, organic and clean and well made. And you can find a lot of things with, food grade shungite powder in them for your skin, for your body. I put it on my hands, my feet, my body at night before I go to bed. These little guys here, right? They have a sticker on the back. They are shungite, right from a mine in Russia. They are shungite little stickers to go on your little devices, your cell phone. I have a couple on the back of my cell phone. My son has them on his cell phone, because he's got it in his pocket. And you can actually order shungite cups to drink your water out of, your nice pure water. You can get shungite cups. There's so many things and ways out there that you can work to prevent the effects of the EMFs. Please stop carrying your cell phone in your pocket and on your body. It really does affect your DNA. You do not realize that, but it does. I don't even hold mine to my head. I put in earbuds, or, some other way, if you're in the car, you talk on your Bluetooth if you have that. Really trying to separate yourself from the EMFs as much as possible is the big important one. The ability we have once we learn these things to really become empowered and take our power back and stop giving our bodies away to these programs is why I do these videos, what it's all about. So I hope this helps, and I hope you took something good from it. I'll put all the little things that we talked about, the different names you can research and stuff, and some links in the description box. So thank you. See you soon. Namaste.